Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:55. And John Mellencamp with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's going to be cloudy today. There's a chance of rain with a high of 51. So that should knock off a lot of the snow you got on the ground. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low of 36. And then for tomorrow, partly cloudy with a high of 49. I got like 36 degrees right now in downtown Springfield. Steve is not here. He is having some car issues, so it'll probably be a best of Bax and Nagle until he gets here. And if he doesn't get here first, I'm pretty sure that Sheriff Nick Kochi will get here first after 7 o'clock. So we'll be talking to him for a little bit about some of the things that he's been involved in. But hopefully Steve will get his car back on track for Friday, because this Friday is Free Music Friday at the Aria Ballroom at MGM. Changes in Latitudes is the band, America's premier Jimmy Buffett show. They'll be performing. Stop by the Rock 102 table to register for your chance to win some cool prizes. That's coming up this Friday, 6:30 to 8:30 at the Aria Ballroom at MGM with Steve and the road crew and Changes in Latitude from Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
Want the perfect way to make your Sunday?
And now, Bax's View from the Couch. Brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Winter Storm Headquarters, before and after the storm.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, indulge me while I attempt to get through this next college football-related story without sounding like a very desperately old man clinging to the last strands of his tender youth. Now, I can't promise you nothing, but I am giving you a heads up in advance. Last Thursday night, Miami Hurricanes quarterback Carson Beck and his girlfriend, Miami basketball player Hannah Cavender, were the unfortunate victims of a crime when their vehicles were stolen outside of Beck's apartment while they slept. Now, under most circumstances, there's nothing lighthearted about being the victim of any crime, including one where the suspects were arrested and charged with a burglary of an unoccupied dwelling, in this case a garage, grand theft, and grand theft of an automobile. According to reports, police arrested Taekwon DeAndre Anderson after he and 3 accomplices arrived in a rented vehicle and attempted to climb over a concrete fence and steal cars that were owned by both victims. Unfortunately for Anderson and his accomplices, they were unsuccessful in doing so. Now, here's where things get interesting. The vehicles in question included both the Lamborghini and the Mercedes owned by Beck, and the Range Rover that was owned by Hannah Cavender. Now, while I am delighted to tell you that all 3 of these cars were safely recovered, I cannot help but equate this situation with my own college experience, where I had to sell my blood plasma to afford beer money and a bus ride home. Not to sound like a hostile old man, but back in my day, my part-time minimum wage work-study job in the dormitory cafeteria would not have allowed me to own a Lamborghini and park it next to my Mercedes. I can't even afford that now. That's not to say that these youngsters aren't the victim of a serious crime. They most certainly are. But it just goes to show you that times have changed from the days when student-athletes were among some of the brokest bunch of penniless freeloaders on campus, as opposed to today when a quarterback and a shooting guard girlfriend are leaving their luxury vehicles in preferred parking spaces and exposed to unsavory hoodlums and rented cars. Call me old-fashioned, but back in my day, we just looked for cars that had keys in the front seat, and we liked it that way. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. You know, the DeWalt $99 power tool sale at Rocky's is going on right now. You can get a DeWalt circular saw, a reciprocating saw, a DeWalt cordless grinder, cordless compact drill kit, and the lithium-ion battery. You get one, get them all, $99 each at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock at 6:11, and Stevie Nicks with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. Steve is on his way, kind of distracted by a little thing with his car, but he'll be here at some point this morning. Also, Sheriff Nick Kochi will be here after 7 o'clock. But in the meantime, while we wait for all that, it's going to have to be a best of Bax and Nagle on Rock 102, including this about the Pinewood Derby, the second part of an amazing story about me overcoming great odds and then having that information passed down to future generations. It's the best of Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. Remember last week we were doing that? Okay, well, remember last week when we were doing that celebrity bartending for the Boy Scouts?
Oh, yeah.
And we had that guy on to talk about it?
The guy that didn't stop talking and just likes to hear his own voice?
Yeah, that guy. Well, anyway, in that conversation, I reiterated that you are gazing upon a 2-time Pinewood Derby champion.
Oh, yeah.
Not the kind of guy that likes to just shove that into people's faces. I realize that it's the kind of thing that can spark envy and jealousy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have any part of that. But I had a conversation with my dad last night.
Okay.
And he was listening to the podcast like he does every single day because
Yeah.
he's got nothing else to do, and this is the thing that keeps him connected to the world.
Hi,
Anyway,
Dad.
Hey, Dad, what's going on? Anyway, we had this conversation, and he heard us talking after the event that the Boy Scouts had given me replacement trophies for the Pinewood Derby from 1975 and 1976, which I won first place 2 years in a row.
Right.
So my dad...
Not by your own, not on your own.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
nothing to do with the car whatsoever. But my dad is, for all intents and purposes, a Pinewood Derby whisperer.
Mm-hmm.
Even to the extent where he told me a story last night that I did not recall. But I'll get to that in a second. He calls me last night and says, hey, listen, I hear you have 2 Pinewood Derby trophies. And I'm like, well, yes, I do. And he would say, well, I would like one. I would like to have a Pinewood Derby trophy of my own.
Did you say, no, these are mine?
No, because that would be selfish. And I actually said, would you like to have both of them since it was your handiwork that won these contests? And he's like, no, you can keep one, but I would like the other. And I'm like, perfectly fine. I got no problem with that at all. He did all the work.
Yeah.
For anyone who does not know about the Pinewood Derby, when you're a Cub Scout, once a year you receive a bag, and in that bag is a block of pine wood, plastic wheels,
Yeah.
4 little nails,
Yeah.
and then there's like an axle in
Yeah.
between. And that is what you do to build the car. Now, there are ways of manipulating the vehicle to make it faster.
Yeah.
Weighting it down with lead, for example. Graphite on the wheel would be another example.
Cutting it through a miter box to make an angle on the front so the airflow goes over the top of it faster.
Well, you would think that would be a part of it, but many years ago, after winning 2 Pinewood Derby championships
The dynasty of Rehoboth, yes.
in a row, I didn't build a third one because I thought, it really is time to give
Give somebody
one of
else
these youngsters a chance.
Right.
I'd hate to have to corner the market on the Pinewood Derby.
Plus, you've graduated to the Boy Scouts anyway.
So my father tells me this story, which I have like a vague recollection of, but he was. When I tell you he's the Pinewood Derby whisperer, it's no horse crap. My father, for whatever reason, is fixated on not only building a fast car, but building a car that crushes all other competition. Many years ago, he's in a restaurant with his wife, and there is a young mother and her son, and he's in his Cub Scout uniform, and he's got the paper bag right there on the table in the restaurant. Clearly, the Pinewood Derby, and my dad overhears the conversation about the Pinewood Derby, and my dad, at some point, gets up from his seat, walks over to the table, and he says, "I see you have a Pinewood Derby car in the bag." And the boy and the mother say, why, yes, we do. And my dad apparently says to the mother and to the boy, "Would you like to win?"
What?
Like it's like what? It's like
That's
out of a movie. It's like,
Well, but it's also...
would you like to kick the asses of everybody else in your Cub Scout troop?
In a movie, that would work. In real life, that's like, who is this guy coming up talking to my kid asking if he wants to win the Pinewood Derby?
I'm telling you who comes up to the kid.
Yeah.
It's the Pinewood Derby whisperer.
Right.
That's what happens.
Right.
This is like purely out of Hollywood. My dad explains specifically what needs to happen to the car.
Yeah.
And it's not just cutting it with a miter saw or a jigsaw and smoothing it down to make it aerodynamic. It's not just the leaded weight in the middle of it. It's not just the graphite on the wheels. There is one other secret to the Pinewood Derby.
What is that?
Do you remember building one or watching your dad build one?
My brother helped me build because my dad had too many Bud Heavies and forgot that we had to do this, so my brother stepped in and took care of it.
See, my dad built these cars with pure intellectual clarity. Nothing got in the way. It was more than sober. It was uber sober. It was like the most sober process you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
The nails that the wheel went around, that the wheel went on,
Yeah.
had ridges. in the nail.
Yeah.
The secret is to grind those ridges down. Okay. So what he would do is he would file it down using like a drill.
Like he's taking a serial number off a pistol that he just got.
Exactly. Like he was trying to build a ghost gun.
Right.
Ghost gun.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if he's probably going to be angry that I'm giving these secrets out, but we're not building any more cars. So why not just pass it?
Doesn't he want other boys to win?
Well, he wanted this kid to win,
right?
And so he tells the mother, "Here's what you do: you take a drill, you take a file, you file down the nails so they're nice and smooth. Take an emery board, make it nice and perfectly smooth, and then at that point you put the graphite, not oil, graphite on the nail and the wheel, and you clock it. If you can make the wheel spin for exactly 13 seconds, you will kick everybody's ass." Really? He said it doesn't matter what the car looks like. It doesn't matter whether it's been smoothed down. Wait, the grinding of the nail, and then the graphite.
Huh.
So my dad walks away feeling pretty confident that he's just given the secret sauce, that he's exposed Colonel Sanders' 11 herbs and spices secret for the recipe.
Yeah.
A month later, he's at the same restaurant with his wife, and the mother and the kid are both there. Mm-hmm. And the mother comes up to my dad and said, "You're not going to believe this. The kid won."
Whoa!
And I'm like, this
blown away.
This story is, I'm telling you, it's a Hollywood blockbuster waiting to happen. I can totally see like a Spielberg getting his mitts on this story, and it's like a comeback story, and it's an inspirational one where everybody at the end of the film in the theater stands up and applauds.
Yeah.
The most inspirational story I've ever heard come from my father.
Walked out of there like he just owned a boardroom back in the 80s.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my dad just walked away in silence. I have now spoken.
Did he do a drill drop?
Yeah,
Dropped
that's
the drill
it.
and walked away?
That's right. He dropped plastic wheels and said, "Take that, bitches."
Yeah,
and that
you
was
go.
it. That was it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I completely forgot about that story because remember, the first time I won the Pinewood Derby.
Yeah.
I was in the hospital getting my appendix removed. I wasn't even at the first race, but the car was such a badass vehicle that it beat everybody.
Wait a minute, you weren't even there? How does that even make you eligible?
I was eligible.
Yeah.
They allowed my car to be raced in there. And while I was in the hospital,
scratch. The driver ain't there. There ain't no race.
Well, listen, you're talking 1975. That'd be like eliminating like a World Series championship because you got a little bugaboo about what happened on the field. I'm in the hospital. See, I'm recovering from surgery. This is back when it was usually a very major surgery. They opened you up like a canned ham, and they presented me with the trophy. It was like I was Rudy.
Okay, but you weren't even there. How can the driver not be there?
Because it was an emergency surgery.
Yes.
And I was ready to go.
But let's just say, like Dale Earnhardt, for example. Let's say Dale Earnhardt has his appendix, or this is when he was alive.
Yeah.
Had his appendix taken out.
Yes.
Do you think somebody else gets in that car and says they are Dale Earnhardt and they are going to win this race?
No, but I'm sure if Dale Earnhardt was a 7-year-old boy and in the Boy Scouts or the Cub Scouts, his scoutmaster would have said, "You know what, son? I know you've worked I know your dad has worked very hard in this car.
Yeah,
we'll race it in your absence."
Yeah, I don't know.
And then all of a sudden, the next day, my scoutmaster comes with a first place trophy.
I think you and your dad ran a scam.
We did not run a
in the
scam.
70s.
It's not a scam.
It's the big Pinewood Derby scam of 1975 and 1976.
It was no scam. It's all skill.
That's the movie. The movie is how a guy shystered the Cub Scouts by modifying a car with his own little secret.
Everybody modified the car, Steve.
Yeah.
That was the whole purpose of it.
Right, but my brother put BBs in the front for headlights as to weigh it down. But you're telling me now that if we had just
if you had installed like a bunch of lead throughout the entire chassis of the car, and it was balanced, so then it would have been it would have gone faster. And had you manipulated the nails in the way that I just explained to you, that thing would have kicked ass.
So now you've just kind of ruined the whole game here because now everybody knows about that little tactic that you just told. So now you got all these kids are going to be showing up to the Pinewood Derby going, I heard this on the radio, and the guy said file the nails down, and I'll be winning.
And you know what will happen next?
What?
I'm going to receive a bunch of thank you cards.
You're going to get so many trophies.
I'm going to all these trophies and baubles and all kinds of awards, and I'm going to give them all to my father.
Yeah.
Because he is, in fact, the Pinewood Derby whisperer.
And also because your wife doesn't want any more of your clutter crap in the house that you didn't even earn yourself.
Well, that's the other part of it, too.
Those gold records you got up on the wall? You didn't make those.
I don't have any gold records on the wall.
You don't have any of those? You don't have any?
I don't have any of those.
A guy like you doesn't have, from being a music director at one point in your career, you don't have, one of those things that they have hanging in the hallways
I actually said no to those things.
Why?
Because what am I going to do with them? Put them on a wall? For what? For what purpose? For albums they don't really care for?
Yeah, bring them to a metal place and you melt them down for the metal that's inside. Have you not learned anything from these people? Listen, you need to take a class at the Steve Nagle College of Criminal Knowledge, and I'll show you how to do that.
I hate to break it to you. Most of those gold records are painted gold.
Shut the front door!
Yeah, I know, huh?
Yeah. Just like your Pinewood Derby car.
Say what you want, but I'm sitting on 2 trophies right now.
Yeah,
and it feels pretty good.
And you just outed the secret. You gave away a family secret on the radio?
I did everybody a favor. That's what I just did.
Yeah, but now everybody's going to be a champion. How can you have more than one champion at a Pinewood Derby?
Again, your thank you cards can be sent at Rock 102, 45 Fisher Avenue, East Longmeadow, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Have you been dreaming of a new bath or shower, but
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 6:31 and Soundgarden with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. Steve is out for a little bit. He will join us later on today. He's having some problems with his car, but he'll tell you all about that when he gets here. Also, Sheriff Nick Coach will be joining us after 7 o'clock today. We'll be talking about all kinds of things, not only going on at the jail and at the Sheriff's Department, but we'll also talk about some other things that some of you may be curious about. But that's coming up after 7 o'clock today. Hey, make sure you check out Baxy's musical podcast. My guest this week is a repost of my interview from 2021 with Frank Bello, bass player for the band Anthrax, one of the top metal bands of all time, and it's a great interview. He's an amazing guy, and he's got a hell of a story to tell. And it's available on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, the Rock 102 YouTube channel, rock102.com, along with the Rock 102 app. And it's all brought to you by Metro Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram at Chicopee, and Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
live in concert Saturday nights at 9 on Rock 1.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock at 6:45 in Kansas with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Well, hey.
Hey, how's your day going?
First of all, not all heroes wear capes, Bax. And 2 of them, BFK, Barry F. and Krieger, and Dario from AAA.
Thank you, Dario.
Helped me. I had a flat tire this morning. I don't know what happened. I was driving on Homestead Avenue in Holyoke.
Yeah.
It's probably about, 10 after 5 or so. And I get to almost the intersection of Homestead Avenue and Lower Westfield Road, and there must be a giant pothole there that you can't really see because, it's dark. It's dark, and it doesn't. You can't really tell that this thing is there. And then when I hit the pothole, and boom, that kind of crazy shiznit happened. And I was like, oh, man. And, of course, I get to the light, and I realize that and then the tire light is on, and I'm like, yeah, this thing's probably flat.
Didn't you have a spare tire on your vehicle?
No, Toyota doesn't seem to want to care about putting one of those in a car.
Not even like a cheap, flimsy donut
no,
you put in there?
They have this idea that their tires are like run-flat tires, which I probably could have driven. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time somebody drove on 91 with 3 tires, and we might even be talking to a guy who's done that before, coming up, which is weird.
I know, what are the odds?
What is it weird that we're talking to a guy like that? But I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go pull in. I pulled into the Holyoke Pediatric parking lot there. Is he here, by the way?
Yes, he is. And, let me just say, he has been driven here. So
I was going to say, is that an Uber too?
I don't think that's an Uber, but they parked in your spot.
So then what happened was I said, well, I need to I need to get this car delivered to the service station, but I also need to get here to Rock 102.
Because you don't want to miss talking to the sheriff. Then.
Right. So I called Superman number 2, BFK, and I said, "Hey, can you meet me at the service shop?" And he drove me here from West Springfield to.
Hey, he's good. You
got
to can you buzz our guest in because he's going to want to be down here.
He's going to want to do that.
Yeah.
Is he coming in the door?
So Barry Krieger.
Yeah.
Up at like 5 in the morning. Doing Barry Krieger stuff.
I don't know when this guy sleeps. Seriously, sometimes I get messages from him at 10:30 at night, and sometimes I get messages from him at 4 o'clock in the morning.
And everything in between.
So thank you, Barry, for driving me here, and thank you, Dario from AAA, who was there. They were there within 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
We're
now it does happen.
Yeah.
That when you call AAA,
yeah,
oftentimes it takes a while, depending on how many people are in the same boat you are.
Right.
But with potholes everywhere,
yeah,
and they are everywhere.
Yeah. Well, listen, if you're traveling on, I think it's Homestead Avenue. Right by Lower Westfield Road. You're going to watch out for that giant pothole because
it's like a moon crater.
Like the guy Dario from AAA said, some guy, it was like almost like the third guy that had this happened to within the last 12 hours at that very pothole.
It's weird timing. Weird timing. That not only were you driving on 3 wheels,
yeah, but
also tomorrow.
Yeah,
we're gonna have Mike Quincy on the phone with us.
Oh, well,
because I would love to get to the bottom of this foolishness. Like, why is this no longer standard equipment on a car?
I went through this the last time when it was the Mayflower Marathon, which was only 4 months ago, and thank God I got the Premier membership from AAA. Otherwise, I would have been ass out.
Sure,
I went through this the last time. There's no spare tire in Toyotas. In certain Toyotas, there's no donut. There's none of that extra spare tire junk, which you would think would be helpful in a situation.
For
like
years,
this.
I was driving a Toyota Highlander.
Yeah,
and it had a beautiful donut on it. It was almost like it was never touched.
Yeah, well, because you were lucky. You didn't have to ever get out and change it.
Yeah, well, I believe my model had pothole avoidance technology where I could it would tell me in advance not to drive over this big giant moon crater on Homestead Avenue.
Mine doesn't do that, right? So I just whatever. I went through it the last time. It didn't have a spare tire in it. I don't know why. Because there's supposedly like this run flat system that comes with these things, but that's only if you have the factory original tires on there, which I don't. I mean, the car is 8 years old now.
You wore down the first set of tires. What are you supposed to do?
Right. Yeah. That's like the third set of tires I've had on this thing now. So.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
You're extraordinarily lucky because you got the guy from Dario.
Yeah.
Came
Dario.
40 minutes. That's not a long time to. I mean, listen, I've called AAA before in the wintertime. Sometimes it takes an hour, 2 hours, depending on how many calls you're getting.
I was actually expecting to be there for a couple of hours waiting because I knew that, it's that time of year and people are, if I can't be the only one that's experiencing this kind of displeasure in the winter.
Now, last time you had the problem with a car, the guy actually drove you to work.
Yes, but I was also...
Because you were at the Mayflower Marathon, he drove you there.
Because it was almost kind of on the way.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to ask Dario. I'm like, hey, by the way, can you go all the way out of your way to East Longmeadow to come and help me there?
He might have. He might have. But here's the thing. So he was that first guy back in November. Then you got Dario. Okay, so now you got like 2 pretty lucky situations. In your time of bad luck, you had the luck of these 2 guys who were working. But then, out of nowhere, Barry Krieger comes into the equation and offers you not only a ride from Holyoke to wherever you were bringing your car, but then dropping you off at work.
Yeah, he drove all the way from West Springfield to here.
It's like Barry's got nothing better to do but than to save his good friends.
Yeah, he's a good Samaritan.
He's the best Samaritan. He's the best guy there is.
And I said all heroes don't wear capes. They
wear sandals and 20 degrees.
Right. Yeah, and they listen to
sandals and sweatpants.
The Grateful Dead channel is on all the time, which is fine. I mean, but I'm grateful for Barry, and I'm grateful for Dario. And listen, it's just an inconvenience.
It's an inconvenience, yeah. But it's working out. You got here in time for the sheriff, which is perfect. But how are you getting home? How are you getting back to your car?
I don't know. You got anything to do after the show?
Oh, I got a lot going on.
You can't. You want to give me a ride down to Riverdale Street?
If you need a ride to Riverdale Street, I'm sure I could probably bring it.
Well, either you or I can ask Alex. Alex gave me a ride last time. He's not doing much around here any day all day long. So
he's just in management. That's all. It's not asking too much.
Well, I mean, this is the time to shine for the managers. To bring you to a place of purpose. Finally, they drive us to a place that has a purpose.
Finally, he is managing to bring you to get your car fixed.
He's been waiting for this moment.
Yeah,
I've been trying to get him to do this for years.
That's why he's got that Barry Krieger dartboard in his office.
That's right. He's
I'm not going to allow Barry to take all the credit.
No, I'm going to take half the credit. That's how much. It's like when he programs the Tom Petty song.
Sure.
He takes all the credit for that.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Yeah. It's good to have you.
I'm glad I'm here, too.
Are you really? Or are you just kind of like biding your time until you can get the hell out of here?
I'm just biding my time till I can get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
But hey, again, speaking of three wheels, we'll be talking with Sheriff Nick Cochie coming up in just a few minutes.
He's not happy with you right now, and I can't blame him.
When is he ever happy with me?
It's 6:54 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch. Brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Winter Storm Headquarters. Before and after the storm.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, as you know, football is a complicated game in which the primary objective is for the offense to score points while the opposing defense attempts to stop them. To accomplish these goals, a team must, on occasion, design plays meant to guarantee the highest rate of success, even if some of those plays run the risk of somebody getting hurt. That's why the NFL has imposed so many damn rules to protect players from hurting themselves, even if those same plays tend to be successful. In this case, one of those plays in question is the quarterback sneak tush push. Yesterday at the NFL Scouting Combine, NFL Executive Vice President of Football Operations Troy Vincent told reporters that the league is looking into the quarterback tush push to gauge its safety after one unidentified team claimed that it was not. You see, the tush push involves a quarterback sneak in which players behind him push him either over the goal line for a touchdown or to push him through for first down yardage. This unidentified team believes that the tush push puts players at risk, even though statistics show a 71% success rate. In fact, between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, who met in the Super Bowl this year, they were responsible for successful tush pushes 163 times over the course of the season. That's a success rate of 87%. So, who are these whining crybabies that decide to quietly bitch about it? Well, according to sources, the anonymous team in question is the Green Bay Packers, the very team who I once owned a single share of non-dividend paying stock up until about 10 years ago. Had I still been an active shareholder, I would have urged the team to stop acting like a gaggle of spineless weaklings and suck it up. Sadly, I'm no longer invited to the annual meeting, so let me say this from afar. Cut it out! You're playing football, for crying out loud. You're not making doilies for the neighborhood craft fair. Your job is to beat the snot out of opposing teams using good old-fashioned collisions and violence. It's not to cry on the sidelines because your feelings got hurt. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. You know the Craftsman 47-piece driver bit set from Rocky's? Look, I'm no tool expert, but I got to think that 47 pieces gives you everything you're ever going to need with the drill bits. But now you can get it for only $15. Pretty good deal at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:08 in Rush with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be a mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 51. Tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 45. It's 38 right now in downtown Springfield.
It's been a while since we've had a chance to sit face-to-face in front of Nick Coach. I think the Mayflower Marathon was the last time we saw you. But he's in the studio with us right now. It's great to have you.
Hey, well, thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
All right. All right, let's just talk about the elephant in the room here because this story has been ongoing. For some reason, the media wants to bring it up all the time.
And that's the amount of weight you lost. You look terrific. Can I just say that first of all?
You do.
Thank you.
No,
I don't know if you're benching, you're lifting weights, or what you're doing, but you look terrific.
Well, I'm sure he's doing a lot of walking.
I'm
these
sure
days.
you are.
Yeah.
It's good for you. So what else you been up to?
Hey, can we get back to the weather?
Yeah, right.
Things are good.
But you came in here, and in all in good faith, you wanted to kind of address this incident that's been ongoing. You had a little bit of an issue back in September, right? Was it September?
Yeah. This past September wasn't my best my best night. There's no question about that, and I take full responsibility for it, and. Like I said, my mom and dad always brought me up to try to be the best version of myself, and that didn't happen that night in September. Sitting at home and thinking of how you approach this issue. You have to take Nick Cochie, the person, and Sheriff Nick Cochie, the public figure, and you have to put it aside because, quite frankly, the sheriff's office is much bigger than any person, the office of sheriff has been around. It's the longest and oldest elected office in the country. Mm-hmm. And it means something to me. It meant something to my predecessor. And I just felt that I had to show respect to the office. Not having a great day and not having my best moment, but there is a way to conduct yourself, and you have to take responsibility, and you have to admit your wrongs, and then you have to then forge forward. And I think that's the part that some people out there may not want to see me move forward. They may want to see me stumble and fall, and that's okay. But I'll tell you this. I was raised to always get up, dust yourself off, and continue to do the work you're doing. And I think I said that when I walked down the steps of the court house that day. I addressed the media, and I went back to work. I love my job. I love what I do. I plan on being in my job for a long time, with the support and the help of the voting public. And I will say that the reception's been very positive. Not looking for anybody to tell me that it's okay, because it's not. I'm not looking for people to feel sorry for me, because that's not what's needed. But what I am looking for people to do is to remember that people make mistakes, especially in my line of work. Every day I go to work and I deal with 1,000+ people who have made mistakes, and we don't cast them off. We try to build them back up and try to bring them back to society and give them opportunities. And I just say to the people that are out in the public, I apologize, but it will never, ever happen again.
This is Sheriff Nick Cochie in the studio. There's two things that kind of leap out to me about this, and it's about reaction. There's a lot of people who believe, so Nick Cochie gets involved in a problem that night at MGM with the state police, and many people, I think most people, and I'm not saying this to pander to you, because the first person to bust your stones is going to be me, but I think most people appreciated the fact that you took responsibility for this and didn't try to run away from it, like you would maybe see some other officials try to use their influence to change how things go. What does disturb me about this, and I've known you for almost 10 years now, so I mean I feel like I know you fairly well. I'm a little disappointed in the reaction by some folks in the media who have not been able to let this go, and they've done at least a couple of follow-up stories, the video, the body cam video. There was a couple of others that were out there getting reaction for people that were looking specifically at negative reaction towards you. Yeah, as a guy who's sitting and watching this, and you're the target of a lot of this, it has to be kind of like a double-edged sword. On one hand, you're happy that people are supporting you, but on the other hand, it's got to be real frustrating that you're getting the crap kicked out of you at the same time. And I don't even know if it's fair to treat you in that way. Like you say, people make mistakes. I mean, how do you respond to any of that?
Well, first and foremost, I gave a certain section of the media, the paper, I gave them a Christmas gift, period. And they took it and they ran with it. I don't think they were fair at times, but on the other hand, I own it. We wouldn't be talking about it if I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I will say this, that don't believe everything you read, okay? Don't believe everything you read. A lot of things were published that I would have liked to have responded to, but I pled responsible. I take ownership, and then you just keep your mouth shut and you move forward. And for those that want to keep drudging it up, have at it. I'm a big boy. I'm very comfortable in my skin. I know what I do for work. I know how to do my job, and I know hopefully what I bring and I hopefully mean to this community. And the community has been very, very good to me, and I am so grateful for that. But it's, it's a give and take. And when it comes to the paper, it is what it is. I'm not going to tell them how to do their job. Do what you got to do. But they upset a lot of people, and not just me. I'm not upset at what they write because, again, they wouldn't be writing anything if I didn't give them something to write.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And I think the other thing too is that I'm a big boy, and in my mid-50s, I'd like to think that I've done a lot of good things, and I've done things that I'm not so proud about. And this happens to be something that I gave. I'm a public official. I'm a law enforcement official, and that just magnifies itself. And I just look at it in a way that it was humiliating and it was embarrassing. And if I could tell anybody who has never been in that position, don't do it. Please don't do it. Not just because of the humiliation and embarrassment, because I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to hurt somebody else. I say there for the grace of God, nobody got hurt. And I take it as a life lesson. And if you learn from it, you grow from it. If you make the same mistake over and over again, that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, looking for a different result. That's not going to be me. I think I'm bright enough to take this incident and make it into something now, not then, because it's very serious. But I'm going to turn it into something positive. I'm going to go into the schools. I'm going to talk to the kids. I talk to my staff. When my staff make mistakes and they get in trouble at work, I tell them, I say, look, none of us are perfect here. We got to take our medicine. We got to take our discipline. But then we come back to work and we do our job. And don't come in with your head down, kicking dirt. What I want you to do is come in with your chin up, ready to do the work that we know you can do. And it's about building a better self. And, hey, like anybody else, I can always be better.
One of the arguments that I heard over and over again about, well, this guy's getting preferential treatment because he's a law enforcement member. You went through the entire punishment that anybody else who would have a DUI under their belt would go through. You lost your license for what? It was 6 months, loss of license. You got to pay fines, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what else? I mean, there wasn't. Maybe the only preferential treatment is maybe the speed and how this was done.
No, because I could have dragged it out. I could have dragged it out month after month, like a lot of cases do. But I took responsibility for it.
Right.
I went to my hearing, and I said, yeah, that was me. And then when the video came out, as Bax alluded to, and people thought it was overkill, I actually I'm
only on season 2 of that.
You got to watch it. You got to binge the hell out of it.
No, but you look at it, and I was actually glad it came out because I think people would have thought I was a stumbling fool. That's not the case.
Yeah.
I couldn't speak. That was not the case. Was I impaired? Absolutely. Did I have more drinks than I should have and drove? Yes, I did. But I was not a stumbling, bumbling, falling down fool. But the bottom line was I shouldn't have drove the car, period.
There are, as two people who have spent plenty of time as drunken, bumbling fools, I understand what you're saying and taking responsibility for it. But the reality is, people, I think, understand that. Most people, most voters, most people in Hampden County, I think understand that, yeah, you're an elected official, but you're also a human being, prone to going out, being in front of the public, going to events. Sometimes there's alcohol served there. Moving forward, obviously people are going to say, "Oh, the sheriff is going to be at this golf tournament or this, this charity event," and people are going to be watching your behavior from now on. There's a lot of responsibility in being an elected official and then being at events, over the course of the next several years. How do you change the perceptions of that?
I can't change anyone's perception. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. No one's entitled to their own facts. The facts is I'm not going to change who I am. I am going to change how I respond to certain situations. Having a drink and driving in a car isn't going to happen again. There's no reason for it. Well, I know better.
Here's another argument, and somebody's texting this in, and the point is most people who get drunk and crash a company vehicle would lose their job. How would you respond to something like that?
It's not true.
You don't think that somebody would face any kind of disciplinary action you have faced a legal disciplinary action.
But I was suspended for 3 days without pay. I paid for all the damages.
All right. Well,
I paid for everything.
There you go.
Yeah, but but nobody wants to know that. They just want to continue to send those things in.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. I'm just throwing out what
like I said, I'll take any questions that come to you. Fire them away, text them in. Hey, look, I'm not looking to put any blame anywhere else. I want to know how many other people that have been in my situation will come on the radio and sit there and tell you I screwed up.
And that's for all the politicians that get involved in certain things like that and deny. That says a lot about your character that you're not trying to sweep something under the rug.
Look, it's very simple for me. I've always comported myself this way. I take responsibility. And I take accolades when we earn them at the sheriff's office. But when something goes wrong, I have to step up as the agency head or as the person who was involved in the incident and take responsibility for it. And that's what I'm doing. And there's nobody to point a finger at. Nobody. I have all the respect in the world for the Mass State Police. I have all the respect in the world for the individual who had to do his job. I put him in a tough spot. And I apologize for that. But at the end of the day, I will take responsibility for it. And all I can say to people that are out there is that Nick Cochi, the sheriff, is sorry for what I did. What I won't do is apologize for who I am. Because I believe I've done enough things where people know who the real person is.
Right. We're going to have more with Sheriff Nick Cochi throughout the hour.
There's one finger I want you to point. If you could just touch your nose for me right in the middle.
He can do that.
All right. I'm
more worried about his finger touching your nose at this point. Right. 5 fingers at a time. We'll have more with the sheriff in just a little bit. It's 7:22 on Rock 102.
Hi.
It's 7:25 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
We never got to the joke. We never got to. You want to tell a joke now?
Sure.
I can tell a joke. Do you want me to tell a joke?
Yeah, why not?
All right, let's do it. You ready to laugh?
I'm ready to laugh,
All right,
Steve.
let's laugh. There you go.
It's Bax and Nagle's Joke of the Day
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you.
on Rock 102,
I make you laugh.
Springfield's classic rock.
All right, the world expert on European wasps and sounds that they make is taking a stroll down his local street. right?
Okay.
As he passes by a record shop, a sign catches his eye. Just released, new LP, Wasps of Europe and the Sounds They Make, available now. Okay?
Sure.
And unable to resist the temptation because of his expertise, the man goes into the shop. I am the world expert on European wasps and the sounds that they make. I'd very much like to listen to the new LP you have advertised in the window. And the clerk goes, well, certainly, sir. If you'd like to step into the booth and put on the headphones, I'll put the LP on for you. And the world expert on European wasps goes into the booth and puts on his earphones. And 10 minutes later, he comes out of the booth and announces, I am the world expert on European wasps and the sounds that they make, yet I recognized none of those. I'm sorry, sir. If you'd care to step into another booth, I can let you have another 10 minutes. And the world expert on European wasps and sounds that they make steps back into a booth and replaces the headphones. And 10 minutes later, he comes out of the booth shaking his head. I don't understand it. He says, I am the world expert on European wasps and the sounds that they make. And yet I still cannot recognize any of those. I'm terribly sorry, sir, says the young man. Perhaps if you'd like to step into the booth again, you could have 5 more minutes. Sighing, he lets out a big sigh. The world expert on European wasps and the sounds that they make steps back into the booth, and 5 minutes later he comes out, and now he's livid. He's very agitated. I am the world expert on European wasps and the sounds that they make, and yet I have recognized none of the wasps on this LP. And the young kid goes, I'm really sorry, sir. I just realized I was playing you the B-side. He's a wasp. He's a European expert on European wasp, but he was only listening to the bees. Just trying to get some comedic relief in this room. Just cut the tension with a knife in here.
Bax and Nagle in the morning.
It's just about 7:30 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news. It is brought to you by Yankee Home Improvement. Breaking news, homeowners can save big on windows and showers. Call Yankee Home by Thursday and don't miss out. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. An individual was brought to the hospital with life-threatening injuries after being struck by a train at the Pleasant Street Railroad crossing in South Deerfield Monday afternoon. The South Deerfield District Fire District said that shortly after 4 p.m. Monday, personnel received a report regarding a person being struck by a train. South Deerfield firefighters were joined by the Deerfield Police and South County EMS at the location of the incident. Massachusetts State Police and Amtrak Police also provided mutual aid. The victim was brought by ambulance to Bay State Health in Franklin, then to Bay State Health in Springfield via Lifestar critical care helicopter. South Deerfield said the South Deerfield Fire said the victim was reported to have severe, life-threatening at minimum injuries. As a result of the incident, no injuries were reported among the train's passengers. What's this one? I'm scrolling through news because I got here late because I had the flat tire this morning.
The bar of expectation for you is typically low anyway.
Yeah.
I think it should be even lower today.
Well, I'm switching through tabs. I got news tabs open.
That's fine, Steve. Again, you set the bar of expectation in a reasonable height.
Do they still make Tab soda?
Occasionally I've seen it, but did you ever have it?
Yeah,
It's awful. It's not good.
Well, it's like that was like the alternative to Diet Coke, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Like
It was the saccharin-induced diet soda. You could
versus aspartame.
Yes, you could actually taste the cancer building inside of you when you had a 6-pack of Tab.
See, I'd rather have the taste of aspartame in my mouth.
Well, that's
saccharin.
That's a personal decision.
Nobody wants a saccharin on their tongue. They want an aspartame. Wouldn't you rather have the aspartame versus the saccharin in your mouth?
To me, they're so closely tied together. It's almost the same real estate.
They're so close together.
Well, when you're dangling them right in your face like that, you got to make a decision.
Did you ever have a little stevia in your mouth?
No, I haven't. We're not going to start today.
Maybe you should try, huh? I too am fake as F. A man from Amherst was arrested Saturday night in connection with an armed robbery at CVS Pharmacy in East Hampton. Sergeant Andrew Bilo said that at around 9:30 p.m. on Saturday, the East Hampton Regional Communications Center received a report regarding an armed robbery at the CVS on Northampton Street. Officers arrived at the location and began investigating the incident. They just followed the trail of receipt tape, and they found him. The investigation revealed that the suspect brandished a knife at a CVS employee, telling them he also had a firearm in his vehicle. Well, that's some good information to just give up like that. Oh, yeah, by the way, I got this knife, and there's a gun in my car. East Hampton police were able to promptly identify and arrest a 23-year-old man from Amherst in connection to the armed robbery. The suspect was arraigned at Northampton District Court on Monday morning. The East Hampton Police Department is currently investigating the incident. Sergeant Bilo said no further details are being released at this time. Oh, he's a good guy. He donates a lot to Hey, I donate a lot to charity. Don't I get a free pass on here? Well, what have you donated to? I rounded up. Matter of fact,
I've also just donated a firearm.
I've rounded. Yeah. Where's my Toys R Us gift card that you give for these firearms on those days?
Hey, a buyback program at a CVS. That's not such a bad idea.
That's the way to go. Here's some sad news. A popular barbecue spot in Worcester is closing its doors this March. BT's Fried Chicken and Barbecue announced on their Facebook page on Saturday they can no longer keep their doors open. BT's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, located on Park Avenue in Worcester, is the sister restaurant of BT's Smokehouse in Sturbridge. The post states that the restaurant has suffered too many unforeseen and unfortunate circumstances, such as the pandemic, cars driving through the front doors. How many times did that happen? Probably more than enough to.
Did you see that it happened at the Burger King like last week?
Where?
On Cooley Street. On Cooley Street.
Somebody drove through the front door?
Yeah. I mean, they got a window you can drive through, not the front window.
It's a drive around.
Yes.
It's not a drive through.
There's arrows. Yeah. You got to believe the king was pissed off about that.
Well, the Sturbridge location will remain open as it has become a destination for barbecue enthusiasts throughout Massachusetts. I ate there once. It was absolutely delicious at the one in Sturbridge.
Yeah, I've driven past a number of times in Sturbridge, but haven't pulled over. But even like Marty's been here. So, you got to go you got to go there. I'm like, listen, when I'm in Sturbridge, I am focused on getting the hell out of Sturbridge.
What? Why? What's wrong with Sturbridge? You don't want to go see the old Sturbridge Village? They have good barbecue over there.
I think I was damaged as a youth by going to the Sturbridge Village for elementary school field trips where I had maybe too much saltwater taffy and wore moccasins for far too long on my feet.
That's a good time over at that old Sturbridge Village.
It's all right.
What are you talking about?
It is a step up from Plymouth. I'll give them that.
Yeah, well, I'd say they have a little bit more technology than Plymouth had.
No.
I've seen some of those people on cell phones when they were supposed to be in character.
I was gonna say when you're looking at the Pilgrims making cornbread over the stove and their beeper goes off.
Well, it's AT&T. They get the AT&T service there. That's the only service that has at Old Sturbridge Village. That was the first cell phone tower. Did you not know this?
I didn't.
The first cell phone tower service
was on the mast of the Mayflower.
Right.
Yeah, right. Okay, sure.
You don't believe anything, do you?
I don't believe a damn thing.
We've heard of thieves stealing everything but the kitchen sink. That's the kitchen sink. At least one bathroom sink has been jacked, though. A restaurant in the United Kingdom says they believe a woman went into the restroom last week and walked out about 12 minutes later with their bathroom sink. The whole thing just stuffed in a big bag. The owner says he and his staff later discovered that the sink and some of the pipework was mysteriously gone. They looked back at their security footage and then saw a woman who they said believed stole it. She wasn't eating there at the time, but she walked in, went straight to the restroom, walked out with a bag that was big enough to hold the whole sink. They don't have cameras inside the restroom, obviously. The owner says the sink was not expensive. it's an imitation stone. It'll cost about $200 to replace. Hey, that's still $200.
Sure.
Which makes it even stranger that someone went to all that trouble just to take a sink. I can see people, who don't have a lot of money, and they go in and they steal food.
Yeah.
Or they go into a shoplift and they steal a pair of shoes. All right, it's still wrong, but I can understand that maybe you were stealing something because you were without. But who is going without sinks so much that you feel the need to walk into a bathroom of a restaurant to steal the actual sink?
Never in my lifetime have I walked into a public restroom and said, what can I take with me?
Yeah.
It's like, it's the kind of place where you leave stuff and walk away. It's not the kind of place where you say, there's got to be a few things in here I can take home.
All these people touching that sink all day long.
I know.
It's so gross. And, everybody's using the toilet. You know how they say, even your toothbrush in your bathroom has bacteria on it because of the people flushing the toilet. Think about all the bacteria that's on that sink.
And people aren't turning the water on with their elbows.
That's right.
Think of what those hands have been all over the fixtures, all over the side.
I never understood that. You got to go to the bathroom, and it says make sure you wash your hands. Well, who's washing the handles every time you go in there? Because you've already touched your stuff. Then you're going over to a sink. You're turning on a faucet. Mm-hmm. You're washing your hands, yet you're now touching to turn that water off.
And then the only way to get out there is to touch the handle of the door.
Right.
I know.
Some of those restaurants now have that thing where, if you had a hook arm, you could pull it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They got the, or you use your arm like a hook, and you.
It's days like that, I wish I had a prosthetic limb.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Everything should be automatic. You should have automatic doors on everything. Yeah, this is the day I wish I didn't have an arm. I wish I had a plastic hook to pull that door open.
But now it's either my hands or I'm going to use my teeth.
Yeah. Your Pioneer Valley forecast today going to be a mix of sun and clouds.
I'm so glad the sheriff sat here quietly while we did all this. We're very respectful.
He was giggling a little bit.
He like that part.
He's waiting for a ride. He can't be.
His ride is waiting for him.
High of 52 today. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds with a high of 45. It's 38 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102.
Nice.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's just about 8:13, and Bon Jovi with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be a mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 52. Tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 45. It is 38 right now in downtown Springfield.
Now, you people who usually just start listening around 8:13 in the morning probably don't ever get a chance to listen to Hollywood Trash because it happens early in the morning and it happens later in the day.
Yeah, but, there was some circumstances this morning. I hit a pothole, a very large pothole, and apparently I wasn't the only one who hit this pothole because the AAA guy told me 3 other people had hit this same pothole.
Sounds like a conspiracy.
No, it's just for some reason the Holyoke DPW, after hearing that 3 other people had gotten this pothole, didn't feel the need to put a cone or some sort of marking that this particular pothole. That's on the same stretch of road. This is Homestead Avenue near the intersection of Lower Westfield Road.
Right.
That's the same stretch of road that they had put in those 2 speed bumps about a mile down the road in front of that school that's there.
Right.
And then 6 months later took them out because they were safety issues.
Yeah, because people were going over them at like 35 miles an hour and launching like Evel Knievel.
Well, I mean, it took them a while to even get the signage out there to put the signs that says, hey, by the way, there's a couple of speed bumps here. So That's what was happening. But then things smoothed out. People started realizing, and people are still slowing down in that area because it's, muscle memory.
Right.
But, however, a mile down the road, a big giant pothole that took out not just my front tire this morning, but 3 other vehicles as well within the last 12 hours. So they might want to get out there and put like a cone.
That would be helpful. But you had the AAA guy come and he was helpful.
Dario from AAA.
And then you had Barry Krieger.
BFK, Barry effing Krieger.
He, out of nowhere, comes to your rescue.
I didn't even call him. He just knew that I was in trouble. And he's like, and he just texts me, and I'll be at the Town Fair Tire in 10 minutes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like he had the sixth sense.
So I got a text from him not too long ago.
Yeah.
It's like around 7 o'clock. And he says that you had said that not all heroes wear capes.
Right.
And I said sometimes they wear sandals.
Right.
And Barry says, had me laughing in my car.
Yeah.
You see, Larry, Barry's got such a great sense of humor, but yet ultimately he is a hero among men. And it should be pointed out that his bravery and the Barry line was an operation.
He's not only a hero, he's a very good friend, and I appreciate him very much for coming to rescue me. Listen, man, if I had my way, I would have been like, dude, just run the best of for the whole day. I don't want to come in here.
I was practically prepared for it.
I would have rather had just sat outside the Town Fair Tire on the bench and slept there. Like one of those guys at the end of the ramp.
Yeah, along with all the other people waiting for their cars to get fixed.
Hey, I could have walked over to that highway ramp and started with a little change bucket and started looking for donations to fix my tire that's probably going to cost.
You don't want to encroach on their territory. Those people are very, very particular.
Oh, is it territorial over there?
Very territorial. They see another guy with a bucket, then all of a sudden you're tussling on the ground with fisticuffs.
I wonder how much a guy like me could make doing that for a day. Because I'm sure I'd get recognized by some people out that way.
I think you probably do okay.
I think I'd do pretty good.
Yeah. I think you got a certain amount of popularity that people probably wouldn't mind dropping a buck or two in the bucket.
That's like a Rock 102 appearance. By the way, I'll be at MGM Music Friday this Friday, but I'll also be at the end of the ramp at Columbus Avenue collecting money for my talent fee.
You got any T-shirts?
Yeah, you got any I should do that. I should hand out T-shirts on the bottom of the highway ramp.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe do we even have time for this now?
Yeah, but sure, we get time.
All right, sure. You ready to do this?
Yes.
Go for it.
By the way, Hollywood Trash is brought to you by Western Mass Masons. Call them for all your foundation and chimney needs.
Somehow you still care about what's happening in Hollywood. So from Tinseltown, 3,000 miles away, it's Steve Nagle's Hollywood Trash.
This one's for the Meghan Markle haters, and for some reason there seems to be a lot of you out there. People think it shares too many. Meghan is being accused of ripping off Pam Anderson with her new Netflix show, With Love, Meghan. People think it shares too many similarities with Pam's show, Pamela's Cooking with Love, which airs on the Food Network in Canada. Right off the bat, there's the titles, which are very similar. Then there are the trailers. Pam's trailer starts with her in a garden saying, quote, "I love to cook. I just always have wanted to take things to another level." And Meghan's trailer shows her in a garden saying, quote, "I've always loved taking something pretty ordinary and elevating it." And both women invite friends into their kitchens as they try new recipes and talk about the art of hosting. One critic said, quote, "Pamela's new show is a more authentic version of what Meghan was trying to achieve, and it looks as though Meghan has copied everything. The trailers are so similar, it's freaky." Or it's just Hollywood, and they're like, hey, it's working for Pam Anderson, let's do it for Meghan Markle.
That's exactly what this is.
I don't think it has anything to do with when like a production company knows, hey, we can make money off something like this, and you have a certain audience for Pam Anderson, and then you also have a certain audience for Meghan Markle. Two completely different audiences.
Totally different.
Listen, there's 3 late night shows, right?
Yeah.
At 11:30, they all come on?
Yeah, there's like 500 reality TV shows, too. And don't think they wouldn't be having so many of them if the first one wasn't really terribly successful.
Yeah. I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm not going to watch either one of these pieces of garbage. How about that? So, do I care if something... Do I care if one piece of trash is copied by another piece of trash? No.
Probably not. And most people are going to feel the same way you do.
In the movie Django Unchained, there is a scene where Leonardo DiCaprio slams his hand on a table, breaks glass, and ends up with a badly bleeding hand. Well, that was completely an unplanned accident, but since Leo just kept going on without breaking character, Quentin Tarantino left it in the movie. And last night, something similar happened to Jon Stewart on The Daily Show. During a heated monologue on prescription drugs, Stewart shattered his mug on the desk, and you could immediately tell something wasn't right. He looked down at his hand, then lowered it under the desk and said, quote, "I'll be going to the hospital soon."
Wow.
But he kept on raging, and 3 minutes later, he lifted his hand, showing it wrapped in a bloody tissue, and told the crowd, "It's fine, it's fine." Stewart finished the show, and there's no word if he did go to the hospital afterwards. Wow, finally on-the-job danger going on The Daily Show.
I'll tell you what, that is a very dangerous show. That's not something you want to be throwing your fists around.
Rachel Zegler isn't upset about the backlash she received over her casting in the live-action Snow White version. In addition to objections over her appearance, people got upset when she made comments about the 1937 original, like calling it dated and saying that the prince was a stalker. Well, he kind of was. I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. But looking back on it now, she says she interprets feelings about it, about all of it as passion. What an honor to be part of something that people are so passionate about. We're not always going to have the same feelings as everyone around us, and all we can do is give our best. That's me not trying to get fired from my job. Rachel says Disney found a beautiful and delicate balance between the original and live action that will introduce the story to a new generation. Quote, "There is no supernatural power that Snow White possesses beyond her love for humanity, for all living creatures, and her fundamental belief that there is goodness in everything. That's something I really believe the world could take advantage of more." Snow White hits theaters on March 21st. Ooh, can't wait.
Listen, I've seen the videos online of a woman
Yeah.
with 7 little people
Yeah.
in a house, and it always ended differently.
Isn't there a joke about that from Mark from West Springfield?
I believe there may have been.
A documentary called Matthew Perry, A Hollywood Tragedy hit Peacock today. If you check it out, don't expect to see other friends. Director Robert Palumbo says Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, and David Schwimmer understandably chose not to appear. They were reluctant to go on a documentary about Matthew at this point, maybe many years down the line. However, one person did participate, Morgan Fairchild,
Who I've seen naked.
who played Chandler's mother. She wanted to make sure that he's remembered for helping others with addiction issues and not just for being on Friends. For your information, there's a joint trial next week for a doctor and a woman known as the Ketamine Queen, who both pleaded not guilty to contributing to Matthew's death.
There wasn't a song by Billy Ocean.
Ketamine Queen,
Yeah.
now we're sharing the same dreams.
I love that song.
Yeah.
You know, Roberta Flack died. You got that one?
No, I didn't even see that.
Roberta Flack died at the age of 88.
That's just a shame when they go so young like that.
I love Roberta Flack.
What did she sing?
First time ever I saw your face, Killing Me Softly with his song,
Killing Me
Feel Like
Softly.
Making Love,
See,
The Closer I Get to You, Where is the Love? I could go on forever.
I thought the Fugees were the ones that made
No.
Killing Me Softly.
No, they took that song and made it their own, but it was all Roberta Flack.
Oh, maybe actually Roberta Flack ripped it off the Fugees. Did you ever think of that?
I don't believe so, since I'm not sure that any of the Fugees were born when that song came out. By the way, she was the first artist to win Grammy Awards for Record of the Year in consecutive years. First person to ever do that, Roberta Flack.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell of an artist, and now she is no longer with us.
The Wu-Tang Clan have announced the dates for their farewell tour. They're calling it Wu-Tang Forever.
I thought
Final Chamber.
I thought it was forever.
Well, then there'd be no end to it. They're going to be joined by Capadonna and Young Dirty Bastard.
Young Dirty Is that the son of Old Dirty Bastard?
Yeah, who is the son of? You can kind of figure that out. Good for you. You put those two. I like it raw. I like it medium rare. I like it medium rare. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah.
I like it gluten-free.
Yeah. It's like he's going to an Applebee's. It's either pink or no pink. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I like it up to temperature without botulism. I like it up to temperature without botulism. He's the woke young dirty bastard. Yeah. Kim Kardashian was looking a little loose yesterday, wearing no bra and a sweatsuit.
Really?
Yeah.
She was had something to say.
Oh my God! The last time I looked this loose was when Ray J shoved his king dong into my slopopotamus in that sex tape you can purchase on YouPorn for $39.95. You ever see a slopopotamus?
I have not. Caitlin?
Well, I never got that done and dirty with your mother, Chris Kim, but I once did some dirty work at the Crossroads. A little belly button tickles from the inside.
What are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is it looked like a bald rat going up a drain pipe.
Think about it.
Think about it. Yeah. Aren't you glad you heard this at 8:20 this
kidding.
morning versus 9:30 or 5:50?
What a breath of fresh air.
And that's your Hollywood trash on Rock 102.
Springfield's classic.
It's 8:28 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
I guess Dan Brown won't have the forecast for you, so I'll give it to you. It's going to be a mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 52. Tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 45. It's 38 right now in downtown Springfield.
So on Friday, you and the road crew are going to be at Free Music Friday at MGM at the Aria Ballroom. Changes in Latitudes is the band this week. America's premier Jimmy Buffett show will be performing. You can stop by the Rock 102 table and register for your chance to win some pretty cool prizes. It's this coming Friday, 6:30 to 8:30 at the Aria Ballroom at MGM with Steve and the road crew from Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
Yeah, provided I get my car fixed today.
I'm pretty sure you won't be hitting any potholes between now and then.
You never know. I mean, it is pothole season. Somebody just texted in, and that very pothole, again, the one I hit this morning, was at the near the intersection of Lower Westfield Road and Homestead Avenue in Holyoke, right before you turn to get onto the highway.
Right.
I'm lucky it didn't happen on the highway.
Oh, that's a big pain.
But there's still no cone there. And the AAA guy, thanks so much, Dario, over at AAA. Mm-hmm. The AAA guy told me that I was the third person within the last 12 hours to hit this pothole, and I was lucky because the other ones had both tires taken out by this thing. I mean, it's like a giant crater in the road. And I understand it's not the fault of the city that there is it's pothole, it's frost heaves. That's going to happen.
Sure.
Whatever. But come on, put a cone there or something.
I gotta believe
that there is there's a giant crater in the road.
I gotta believe that somewhere in the Holyoke Department of Public Works, there's a single cone just sitting there not doing nothing.
There's not one guy or gal on the DPW listening right now.
There's gotta be. You know what? It'll be interesting on your way home today when you get your car and you're driving home and you take that same road. Whether there will be a cone on that pothole, because if there is one, it's because someone was listening to this show and alerted the city of Holyoke, hey, you know what? Knock it off. Put a cone over there before someone else bottoms out.
No, you know what's going to happen? It's going to have to wait till like a public, maybe Mayor Josh Garcia's car gets eaten up by the pothole. Or then and only then will you see a cone out there.
Yeah, or maybe like a city councilor or something like that. Maybe that'll happen.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
A public servant like yourself, a beloved radio icon, you would think would be enough to say, to motivate somebody in Holyoke to say, we need to do something. We need to do something now.
I should do what that guy did in England, where he went and painted penises around the potholes in order for the department to come out and fix them. Again, it's going to happen. The potholes are going to come up. I'm not blaming anybody for the potholes. That's just Mother Nature taking its toll. But
to leave it
put a cone out there.
Or a sign or a barrier, something.
Where are my hero landscapers with that lone cone that even they have that cone will make you avoid hitting them.
Yeah, they're not doing anything with a cone right now. No one's getting their their lawn mowed.
Yeah, where's the landscaper going to step up to the plate and go donate the cone to help humanity today?
Let's hope that something happens.
I hope so, too.
The next couple of hours. It's 8:32. News is next to Rock 102.
Are you replacing?
8:34 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news brought to you by Freedom Credit Union. Freedom is yours. There's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. An individual was brought to the hospital with life-threatening injuries after being struck by a train at the Pleasant Street Railroad crossing in South Deerfield Monday afternoon. South Deerfield Fire said that shortly after 4 Monday, personnel received a report regarding a person being struck by a train. Firefighters were joined by police department officers and the South County EMS. At the location of the incident, Mass State Police and Amtrak Police also provided mutual aid. The victim was brought by ambulance to Bay State Health in Franklin, then to Bay State Health in Springfield via Lifestar Critical Care helicopter. South Deerfield said the fire victim was, South Deerfield Fire said the victim was reported to have severe, life-threatening at minimum injuries as a result of the incident. No injuries were reported among the train's passengers. East Hampton police, a man from Amherst was arrested Saturday night in connection with the armed robbery at CVS in East Hampton. Sergeant Andrew Boileau, it's Boiler, isn't it like Boiler? Isn't that how you say it? Yeah, Boiler. Andrew Boiler said that around 9:30 p.m. on Saturday, the East Hampton Regional Communications Center, 911, received a report regarding an armed robbery at CVS Pharmacy on Northampton Street. Officers arrived at the location and began investigating the incident. The investigation revealed that the suspect brandished a knife. Well, that's not a knife.
This is a knife.
That's not a receipt tape. This is a receipt tape.
That's not a shingles vaccine. This is a shingles vaccine.
That's not a waiting in line for your prescription for 5 hours. This is waiting in line for your prescription for 5 hours. Tell him that he had also had a firearm in the vehicle. By the way, I've also got a gun in my car. Did Paul Hogan get arrested at
I know.
At the CVS? East Hampton police were able to promptly identify and arrest a 23-year-old man from Amherst in connection to the armed robbery. However, they just didn't want to identify him to the news because his name isn't in here.
Right.
The suspect was arraigned at Northampton District Court on Monday morning. The East Hampton Police Department is currently investigating the incident. Sergeant Boiler said that no further details are being released at this time. Can you bail yourself out with CVS Extra Bucks?
I don't see why you can't.
Yeah. I mean, when are you really going to use those things?
I mean, yeah, you got enough points, you can get like a free bottle of shampoo, maybe some razor blades, a greeting card or two.
All kinds of good stuff.
I know.
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing going on here about this daylight savings time thing.
Yeah.
Across the country, lawmakers are debating the necessity of daylight saving time in modern times, including here in Massachusetts. Almost 24 states have introduced bills that would lock the clocks, with some states requesting daylight saving observed from March to November all year long, and some requesting standard time from November to March all year. Polls have shown Americans largely support permanent daylight saving time, but health experts say permanent standard time would be much healthier for our bodies. Massachusetts bill calls for permanent standard time, but the proposed law would only take effect if 2 or more neighboring states join in locking their clocks. That means 2 things.
Clocks.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
The bill also has a provision addressing a main criticism of abolishing daylight saving. Because the sun would come up after children are already at school during winter months, the bill would require school boards to reconsider start times within 3 months of the law taking effect. The United States has abolished daylight saving before in the 1970s, but despite high approval at first, the tide of public opinion turned primarily due to safety issues with sending kids to school in the dark. One of Trump's campaign's promises was to abolish daylight savings time, which would involve congressional approval and change in federal law. Trump has not yet clarified whether he supports permanent daylight saving time or permanent standard time. As of now, Massachusetts clocks will spring forward on Sunday, March 9th. You know, I used to feel one way about it, but now I don't know how, because I don't want it getting dark in the summer.
Yeah.
Earlier. Like, I appreciate that 9 p.m. sunset that we get in June, and then, it starts ticking backwards towards November. But I wouldn't want it to be dark at like 6 p.m. in August.
You see, the problem that I think is, and it's not just an American issue, is if you really want to do this the right way, you got to have everybody in the world do it.
And that's the thing. And there are places in this country where they don't observe it. I believe it's out in the Midwest somewhere where it's like, and that's got to be confusing as hell.
Listen,
to be like in a metro area where I believe, isn't it like, I'm going to be wrong about this where I'm saying it is. But for example, like Kansas City, Missouri and Kansas City, Kansas. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, or is it? No, it's East St. Louis, Illinois,
and
East
St. Louis, Missouri.
Aren't they right next to each other?
They are.
Okay, so but isn't that two different places that one observes daylight savings and the other, even though they're right across the river from each other?
Having lived so close to both cities, I can tell you that it is always a step in time.
Oh, I'm sure it is, but
it is a remarkable difference from one to the other.
The thing is, you're right. It does need to be universal. You can't have 2 states doing this, and then the rest of the surrounding states not doing it. That's going to cause so much. That's going to cause more turmoil and confusion than it would be to just set the damn clock back.
Standard time zones, just in their own, are confusing to some people. Like when you're talking like international changes in time. If you're going to have it like, daylight savings time is decided in a piecemeal fashion, that has serious consequences, because now you're talking about business and economies being affected because not everybody's on board. You either get everybody on board or you keep it as it is. And I don't like I don't like when it's like dark at 4:00 at night. But if the ramifications of doing it are not universal, you're begging for problems. And I don't know if people are considering that.
Here's the key point.
And I don't like problems. I'm trying to avoid as many problems as possible.
Darker winter mornings. The most significant impact would be during winter, where sunrise would occur well after most people wake up for work or school, especially in northern regions.
I wake up in the dark every single day.
But we're so used to doing that. And no matter, we even wake up in the dark in the summer.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate the 5 a.m. sunrise in the early months of the summer, too.
We're kind of like an aberration, because no one works our hours, and no one should be forced to work our hours. But for everybody else, listen, it's not a huge deal to wake up early and have it be dark. But, when it's dark at 4:00 in the afternoon, it's a bummer for everybody.
And it says earlier sunsets in the summer. Conversely, in the summer, the sun would set earlier than it does under daylight saving time. I don't want that. I'd rather have the more daylight during the warmer months than I would be, because this is just crap out here now that we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
I hate this time of year. I hate as soon as that time changes and the sun starts setting at 4:30 in the afternoon. Ugh, that's awful.
I'm just thankful that most of the clocks in my house set automatically.
Yeah.
The only 2 clocks I got to change during daylight savings time are the stove and the microwave.
Yeah, and even your car does it for you now, too.
I know. Thank goodness.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this anymore. I used to be like, yeah, let's just get rid of the whole thing. But then now, after hearing like what the darkness would be, I don't think I want to do this now.
Some of the cons that are out there, potential health problems associated with loss of sleep or loss of sunlight.
Yeah.
Sleep disruptions they're talking about, a drop in workplace productivity because of all that. I mean, there are some serious situations that could arise by changing the way we do things.
All right. I don't know. What's your favorite daylight saving time story? 293-1021 on the Route 10 Tire listener line.
Survey said.
That's where I should have my car towed to, was the Route 10 Tire place.
You didn't even think about that.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right.
Well, because it was 5:15 in the morning. It really wasn't, I wasn't thinking straight.
And you were angry.
It's 8:44 and I'm still not thinking straight.
Well, the whole thing, the whole disruption of it, it gets you angry. And I would like to know, and we'll talk to Mike Quincy about this tomorrow. I would like to know why donuts are not always standard equipment in cars anymore.
I have learned to not get. This is just a major inconvenience, is what it is. It's not. I'm not angry. Like, what do you? Listen, there could be worse things. I could have been on the highway and the thing could have happened. I could have been, somewhere. I could have been injured somehow. I wasn't injured. Mm-hmm. It's just something people deal with.
But if you don't take that attitude, let's say you slammed your thumb in the car door.
Yeah.
All right, that hurts. Are you going to say, oh, it could have been worse? No, you're going to say, God bless it, my thumb is killing me.
Yeah. I don't know.
You live in the moment, Steve.
I'm not living in the moment. I don't need to be enraged by something that really doesn't require you to be enraged about. Now, daylight savings time, now that's a different thing.
Now I want to start.
Now you want to start messing with my time?
No, I want to punch Father Time right in the face.
Oh, you know what? If we had the sun would have been up and I would have been able to wave down, flag down, help.
Thankfully, any time of the day spent with Barry Krieger turns things around.
You know, it's like getting into a Peacemobile. You're sitting in there, the Grateful Dead's on. You just want to light up a J and enjoy the rest of your day. You're Pioneer Valley Forecast.
Costco chickens, egg salad, and edibles.
Hey, and we were right by Costco, too. Of course, they weren't open yet. But you know what? As soon as they opened those doors, we would have been right in there. Mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 52. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high of 45. It is 38 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102.